Title: The Asset was her genre, military espionage thriller. Part 1, Shadows Before Dawn. The rain started before dawn. Cold sheets of water pelted the jungle canopy, masking the low hum of an incoming transport chopper. Beneath the thunder and thrash of tropical storm winds, four silhouettes moved across the muddy forest floor, fast, deliberate, and invisible. Special Recon Team Echo 9, on a Black Ops extraction mission. Their orders were clear: locate and extract the asset, codenamed Cinder, embedded deep inside hostile territory. Captain Malik Reyes led the charge, HUD interface glowing through his visor, voice crisp through encrypted comms. "We're close. Cinder's signal just pinged, grid 3C. Mark it." "Copy that," came the quiet voice of Corporal Lane, the team's tech specialist. "No movement on thermal yet. If they're guarding her, they're cold." Reyes narrowed his eyes. Something about this didn't feel right. Assets never went dark for this long and then just switch on. They were being drawn in. 1 mile south, through a haze of smoke and debris, Sergeant Kaya Vorn knelt in the mud, her hands bound behind her back with military-grade zip cuffs. Her lips were split, blood crusted along her temple. 4 enemy soldiers circled her, ex-militia gone mercenary, lean and scarred from years of black market warfare. "She's not the asset," one of them growled. "This isn't who we were told to expect." Another kicked her side. Kaya flinched but stayed silent. Her eyes burned holes through their arrogance. They were wrong. She wasn't just connected to the mission. She was the mission. 2 days earlier. The Pentagon. Sublevel 6. Restricted access. Admiral Janessa Stroud stood before a sealed briefing room with 2 men from JSOC. "Operation Emberlight is active," she said. "But you're not extracting the informant. You're retrieving our embedded operator. She volunteered to disappear 2 years ago. Now she's surfaced." "Who is she?" Reyes asked. Stroud tapped on the dossier. A face appeared, scarred, steely-eyed, hair tied back in a regulation bun. "Sergeant Kaya Vorn. Declassified only for this mission. But I'll warn you, she's dangerous to everyone, even us. Why reinsert her without extraction readiness?" She insisted. It was the only way to make Harrow show itself. Reyes exchanged a look with his second-in-command, Sergeant Mira, Ghost, Tran. "So we're going into the jungle to retrieve a ghost who may not want to be found?" Stroud nodded. "Exactly. And she may kill you if you try." Present, Jungle Compound, Outer Ravok Province. Kaya listened as the soldiers debated what to do with her. They didn't know she had dislocated her thumb 20 minutes earlier. They didn't realize the mud around her wrists was softening the zip cuffs. And they definitely didn't see the broken blade tucked into the heel of her boot, smuggled in after her fake capture, planted by an old contact. She'd given herself up on purpose. As 2 of the guards walked off to make contact with command, Kaya moved. Her thumb popped back into place with a sick crack, and the cuffs slid free. By the time the remaining 2 guards turned around, she was already on her feet. And armed. The storm roared louder as lightning split the sky. She struck like a viper, blade to throat, boot to jaw, pivoting with the fluid efficiency of a weapon born, not trained. 1 down. Then 2. Blood sprayed across a rusted wall of the compound. Kaya didn't flinch. She rolled the nearest soldier, grabbed his comms unit, and crouched in the rain as she dialed a secure frequency. "This is Vorn. If you're hearing this, pull your team back. You're not extracting me. You're walking into a net. Harrow's still active. Emberlight was compromised. Do not, I repeat, do not trust command." Static. Then Reyes. "Sergeant Vorn. Are you confirming hostile command infiltration?" Kaya's voice dropped to a whisper. "Reyes. They never sent you for the asset. You were bait. And now we're both inside the cage. 20 clicks out, Echo 9 moved faster. We're being used? Tran asked. Looks like, Reyes said. But that changes nothing. Vorn's alive. And she's in the kill box. We're going in. Hours earlier, Kaya had infiltrated the enemy compound alone. It wasn't recklessness. It was strategy. After years in the shadows, deep cover, no extraction options, no backup, she had discovered Harrow's resurgence. An old Black Ops cell, long believed dismantled, had resurfaced, operating through rogue paramilitaries and feeding on intelligence leaks. Harrow was embedded in multiple agencies, including, Kaya believed, JSOC. She'd sent one last signal. A ghost ping from her encrypted Cinder unit. Just enough to activate extraction, or get her killed. Either way, it would draw them out. Now, the compound erupted with alarms. Kaya scrambled through a collapsed barracks, evading searchlights. She moved with intent, pulling files, planting charges. The moment was near. The window to vanish was narrow. But as she rounded a corner, a floodlight lit her up. A soldier barked. She dropped low, firing. 3 rounds. 2 bodies. Her pulse was iron steady. She wasn't just surviving. She was hunting. Reyes and Echo 9 reached the outer perimeter. Lane tapped into local comms, intercepting enemy chatter. They're looking for someone. Not us. Her. Reyes scowled. Then she stirred the nest. Let's be the fire. They moved in, silent, deadly. Tran led a flank, disabling sentries. Reyes placed charges. Lane scrambled signals. A coordinated, brutal entry. Inside, Kaya reached the vault. Harrow's dead drop. Files, drives, hard evidence of infiltration. She grabbed it all. Slid a final charge into the server core. Then a voice behind her. Going somewhere, Ghost? She turned. An old face. Commander Stokes, her former handler. He was Harrow. You should have stayed lost, Kaya, he said, gun raised. I'm not lost, she said. I'm back. Gunfire erupted. She dove. Reyes breached the room seconds later. Kaya was bleeding. Stokes was gone. The server ignited. Their eyes met, 2 soldiers, burned by command, still fighting. This was never an extraction, she said. Reyes nodded. No. It's war. The compound burned. Above, the storm broke. Kaya stood beside Echo 9, smoke curling from her wounds, files in hand. Behind them, Harrow's fortress crumbled. Ahead, only fire, and the beginning. Ghost Protocol. Kaya's breathing was shallow as the med drone hummed above her, sealing a laceration across her ribs. Echo 9 had set up a temporary fallback site inside a forgotten village 2 clicks south of the incinerated Harrow compound. Reyes knelt beside her, grim-faced, wiping blood from her forehead. You sure you're not going to flatline on me? He asked. Kaya smirked through pain. Takes more than a bullet graze and betrayal to put me down. Reyes turned to Tran and Lane, both crouched around the extracted files. Anything usable? Encrypted beyond hell, Lane muttered. But some metadata matches JSOC comms. This confirms Kaya's right, Harrow's operating inside our system. Kaya sat up, sweat slick on her skin. Stokes was just a limb. We need the head. 6 hours later, in a hidden safe house in the capital city of Ravok, Kaya walked with Reyes through a quiet market. Her civilian clothing concealed bruises and muscle memory. You said I was bait, Reyes began. She nodded. Harrow's smart. They intercept ops, twist missions. Emberlight was bait for them too. I fed a ghost ping to draw both them and JSOC attention. I didn't expect command to feed your team into it. They didn't hesitate. Which means the infection is worse than we thought. Kaya stopped. There's someone. A former NSA deep signal tracker, now living off-grid. He may have keys to the encryption Hero uses. You trust him? I don't trust anyone. But I trained him. Mount Renoshi Highlands, 48 hours later. Kaya, Reyes, and Tran hiked into freezing elevation under cover of night. Lane stayed back at the mobile uplink, decoding the stolen data. Winds howled through the cliffs as they reached a weather-beaten cabin strung with radio antennae. Name's Eli Cobb, Kaya said, knocking 3 times, then once more with a pause. The door creaked open. A haggard man with thick lenses and fingerless gloves stared out. Kaya goddamn Vorn. They embraced, awkwardly. Eli looked over Reyes and Tran. You brought a crew. Just one, she said. Harrow's back. His face darkened. Inside, the room buzzed with outdated tech and humming servers. I buried that part of my life, Eli muttered. It's digging itself out, Kaya said. We pulled data from their vault. Help us decrypt it. Eli took the drive. I'll need 24 hours. Maybe less if this coffee is still radioactive. Tran and Reyes took the perimeter. Kaya lingered. Why'd you disappear? Eli asked. She sighed. Too many missions blurred into lies. I stopped knowing which side I was on. Meanwhile, Lane hit a breakthrough. Reyes, you're not going to like this, he said over comms. I found a transmission from one of Harrow's internal nodes. It's coming from Joint Operations Command. Meaning? Someone inside JSOC fed Stokes our route. You were never meant to leave the jungle. Send everything to Cobb, Reyes ordered. The next morning, Eli looked wrecked but alert. I found your head of the snake, he said. Harrow has a central relay node in Eastern Europe. But it's ghost-hosted through a former NATO satellite station, and the access codes. They're on someone named Stroud's secure server. Kaya froze. Admiral Janessa Stroud? Eli nodded slowly. She's either compromised, or the mastermind. Reyes stared hard. She activated Emberlight. Gave us the mission. Kaya's eyes narrowed. Then we go to DC. En route, Kaya isolated herself on the transport. She opened her old logbook, flipping past pages of cryptic notes, photos of fallen comrades, names redacted in black ink. She paused on one, JS, check source of kill order in S. Pelor. Stroud had signed off on the mission that left her stranded in Ravok. It was personal now. Washington, D.C., 4 days later. Disguised and off the radar, the team arrived in the U.S. via an unregistered channel through a NATO contact Lane had bribed. They used burner devices, masks, and stayed in a safe house owned by Eli's former handler, now dead. Kaya planned the infiltration of the Pentagon. This isn't a revenge op, Reyes said. We need hard proof, not a headline. I'm getting both, Kaya replied. They launched the infiltration at 0300 hours. Tran and Lane disrupted surveillance via a dummy NSA malware injection. Kaya and Reyes entered the basement server room using an old entry code Kaya had never forgotten. Inside, Kaya worked fast, slicing through Stroud's server partitions. Alarms triggered halfway through the extraction. Move! Reyes shouted. They bolted through emergency corridors, data disk in hand. 2 guards spotted them. Reyes stunned one. Kaya flipped the other with a brutal twist. They escaped into the tunnels beneath Arlington. Safe house, hours later. Eli plugged in the data. Silence stretched. Then, she did it. A full operational map of Harrow spread across the screen. Nodes in DC, Berlin, Kabul, and Hong Kong. Bank accounts, kill lists, rogue officers. And Stroud's authorization. Kaya leaned against the wall, pulse pounding. She sold out the entire covert chain. Years of missions. People. Then we expose her, Reyes said. Kaya shook her head. No. She's too protected. We dismantle Harrow ourselves. Later that night, Kaya stood alone outside. Rain again. Just like the jungle. Reyes joined her. You ever regret it? He asked. All the time. But I'd rather live with scars than blindfolds. He nodded. So what now? She looked up at the sky. We go hunting. Operation Iron Silence. Rain fell in sheets as the team prepared for the next phase of their rogue mission. The data recovered from Admiral Stroud's servers detailed the backbone of Harrow's global infrastructure, covert safehouses, encrypted banking routes, military supply chains, and a looming operation codenamed Iron Silence. Kaya stood before a portable display unit in their hideout outside Frankfurt. She tapped the main node on the screen, a fortress-like compound in the Belarusian forest known as Site Echo. This is where it begins and ends, she said. Site Echo is their signal relay, shut it down, and we sever Harrow's network. Reyes crossed his arms. You're saying this will take down their whole command structure? Every dead drop, fake identity, kill contract, gone, Kaya confirmed. But it's a fortress, Lane added. It's protected by former Spetsnaz, drones, a minefield, and full radar coverage. We don't walk in. We die at the gate. Kaya's smile was grim. Then we don't walk in. We fly over it. And we burn it from the inside. The mission planning began immediately. Eli Cobb scoured old intelligence files and pieced together smuggled schematics. Tran modified 2 commercial drones for high-speed insertion, while Lane created a signal-scrambling device to mask their entry window. Kaya isolated for hours each day, memorizing blind spots, response times, and enemy rotations. Her quiet intensity infected the team. They all knew this mission wasn't just tactical, it was personal. Reyes noticed the way Kaya's hand would tremble after long silences. The way she avoided mirrors. He kept his distance, but his eyes said what he didn't speak aloud, come back from this. Insertion night, Site Echo perimeter. The modified cargo drone soared at treetop level through a storm. Lightning cracked across the sky as Kaya, Reyes, and Tran crouched inside a compressed cargo container attached underneath. 5 seconds to drop, Lane's voice crackled in their earpieces. Cut signal in 3, Kaya ordered. And Lane. If we don't come back. You will. The drone hatch blew open and the team dropped, gliding via stealth chutes into the darkness below. They landed hard in thick pine, 100 meters from the outer perimeter. Execute Phase 1, Kaya whispered. Tran deployed the first drone, a buzzing hornet-shaped device that jammed the radar sweep for 12 seconds. Long enough. They moved. Inside Site Echo's command room, a Harrow officer named Arkady Grezov stared at the radar feed. His brows furrowed. Glitch. Reset grid 12. The tech clicked away. Too late. Kaya and Reyes had already breached the south maintenance entrance, slicing a lock using a thermal blade. Inside, low lights flickered. Old Soviet concrete, converted into a hive of encrypted servers and armories. Straight shot to control center is down that hall, Kaya said. But we split. Reyes, Tran, you take sublevel 2. Plant the charges on their data nodes. And you? Reyes asked. I'm going for Grezov. He knows Stroud's contingency. The compound erupted into silent violence. Kaya slipped through corridors, disabling guards with precise hits. Reyes and Tran moved like twin shadows through the sublevels, attaching magnetic charges to servers and supply caches. 3 minutes to detonation, Tran said. Reyes nodded. Go. I'll catch up. Kaya reached the command center. Arkady Grezov was waiting. He stood in front of the servers, hand near the alarm. You're too late, he said in accented English. Step away from the board. I served 15 years under Stroud's orders. You think I fear you? Kaya's voice didn't waver. No. But you should fear what comes after this. She tossed a smoke capsule and lunged. In the chaos, she slammed Grezov into a control board, snapping his arm. He screamed, then growled through clenched teeth. You don't get it. Iron silence wasn't about us. It was about you. Stroud gave your name to every hostile network in the East. You're a ghost. A target. Kaya froze. She never wanted to control Harrow, he laughed. She used it to erase you. Kaya punched him out. Then she planted the final charge. Reyes sprinted into the corridor as the sirens finally screamed. Go, go, go. Tran called as the tunnel they rigged began to collapse. They rendezvoused at the North Trillion seconds before the explosives detonated. Site echo went up in a firestorm, lighting the sky like a second sun. Frankfurt Safe House, 2 days later. Lane confirmed the network blackout. They're done. No more transfers, no more contracts. Harrow's officially dead. Reyes leaned against the wall, exhausted. And Grezov? Kaya looked up from a burn dressing. He's with Interpol. But Stroud's already moving. She'll disappear in 48 hours. Lane looked around. So what now? Kaya stood slowly. Her wounds were healing, but her fire was stronger. We hunt Stroud. One layer at a time. That night, Kaya stood outside the safe house, looking toward the horizon. Reyes joined her. Cobb traced a signal. She's heading for Geneva, he said. Kaya didn't look away. Then we leave at dawn. She paused. She knew I'd come. This whole thing, it was all to bring me out. Why? Kaya turned to him. Because I know where all the bodies are buried. Directive 0. The flight to Geneva was quiet. Kaya sat by the window of the chartered jet, staring down at a landscape that once felt familiar. Europe, the old world of diplomats, black-tie lies, and covert deals beneath polished floors. But this time, she wasn't playing by anyone's rules. Stroud had vanished into the cracks between governments. But Eli Cobb had traced her, barely, using cross-pings of burner phones and offshore transfers. She was moving under a diplomatic shell, using the shell corporation known as Ethra Defense, a Harrow front embedded inside an intergovernmental defense summit happening in Geneva. Kaya closed her eyes. This was the final move. One way or another. Geneva, Switzerland, 36 hours until summit. The team had split into roles. Lane and Tran worked from a high-rise hotel room disguised as telecom techs, running intercepts and spoofing IDs. Reyes and Kaya operated in plain clothes, fake passports, new names. She became Dr. Olivia Ray, military liaison from Denmark. Reyes, her private contractor. They used forged NATO credentials to enter the summit perimeter. Inside the Palais des Nations, Kaya scanned the crowd of global operatives, intelligence officers, and political advisors. Every handshake here was calculated. Then she saw her. Admiral Janessa Stroud, perfectly poised in a black blazer, shaking hands with a Turkish general. Kaya froze. Every nerve screamed. Reyes whispered beside her, target confirmed. What's the play? Kaya's voice was steel. We bait her out. She thinks I'm buried. Let's make her think I'm back from the dead. Nightfall, secure comms van outside Geneva. Eli patched into encrypted NATO servers while Lane monitored visual feeds. We need access to Ethra's private conference tomorrow, Kaya said. It's off limits to all non-executive members, Lane replied. Security is airtight. Kaya leaned in. Then we make me an executive. She uploaded a profile using credentials from a long-dead MI6 agent she'd once trained with. The file replaced one of Ethra's actual board members who had suspiciously gone missing the day before. We insert at 0900, she said. Once inside, we isolate Stroud. Capture her alive. Alive? Reyes asked. She knows Directive 0. The next morning, Ethra private session. Kaya entered the chamber with ice in her veins. Around the table sat war criminals in tailored suits, ex-intel chiefs, and former field officers turned businessmen. Stroud sat at the head. Ladies and gentlemen, she began. As global conflict rises, so does our value. Welcome to a new era of defense privatization. Kaya took her seat. Stroud didn't blink. Dr. Ray, she nodded. A pleasure. I've heard of your work. Kaya's mouth curled into a faint smile. The shadows talk, don't they? Stroud laughed softly. But Kaya saw it. The flicker of unease. Lane's voice over comms. We're tapped in. Kaya, you've got 18 minutes before security does a sweep. Kaya pressed a hidden mic in her cuff. Copy. She slipped a flash drive into the table's data port. I'd like to present an alternate conflict model, she said aloud. One based on real-time destabilization of hostile signals. On the screen appeared the full map of Harrow's collapsed network. Stroud froze. You should choose your graphics more carefully, she said. Kaya stood. This is what you built. And it's burning. The lights snapped off. Tran had tripped the internal system. Reyes burst in. Everyone stay seated. Kaya lunged for Stroud, dragging her out of the chamber as guards swarmed. Smoke grenades burst. Chaos. Rooftop extraction, 5 minutes later. The team sprinted across the rooftop as a VTOL drone lifted into view. Stroud was gagged, cuffed, and furious. Kaya pushed her into the cabin. You started this, Kaya said. You end it. Safe house interrogation, 12 hours later. Stroud sat in a soundproof chair, bruised but upright. You don't understand, she said calmly. Directive 0 wasn't about erasing assets. It was about preventing a collapse. Kaya leaned in. Explain. Harrow was the failsafe. A rogue force to preserve Western advantage if command ever fell. But it metastasized. And you fed it, Kaya growled. Stroud stared back. Because I had no choice. The real threat wasn't Harrow. It was who funded it. She slid a chip across the table. Look at the accounts. Then ask yourself, who do they answer to? Kaya took the chip. Plugged it in. Bank transfers. Dark money. High-level clearances. The last name shocked her. Her own. Kaya Vorn. Eli cross-checks the data. Someone used your clearance codes for 5 years after Emberlight, he confirmed. Contracted hits. Black funding. You were being impersonated. By who? Reyes asked. Eli hesitated. Kaya, it was approved under a separate protocol. One you wrote during Black Site training. It's a clone op sequence. Kaya stared. No. That file was destroyed. No, Eli said quietly. It was buried. And someone resurrected it. The impersonator protocol. The last few scenes unfold quickly. The real plan behind Harrow was not to create chaos, but to test an identity warfare program based on deep AI and behavioral mimicry. Kaya had unknowingly trained the model. A subject had been deployed, a copy of her, physically and behaviorally, to execute deniable missions. That subject was now active, and rogue. Stroud had been trying to kill it. Kaya stood alone in the hallway, staring at the surveillance footage Eli played on loop. A blurry image. A woman walking through a military base. Her walk, identical to Kaya's. Her eyes, cold. Precise. "She's out there," Reyes said. Kaya nodded. "I'm hunting myself." Legacy Protocol. Prologue, 72 hours later. A NATO vault deep beneath Berlin hummed with old energy, the kind that didn't belong in modern war. This place wasn't on any official registry, and the room Kaya stood in hadn't been accessed since Harrow was dismantled. Eli tapped the decrypted file on the screen. One word blinked in red. Active. Codename, Vorn 9. Status, Directive 0 Subject 9B. Objective, Omega Protocol, Identity Erasure of Kaya Vorn. Kaya said nothing. She stood with arms folded, jaw tight, the hum of the cold server banks brushing against her spine. She was chasing something that had her face, her instincts, her memories. "She's not just active," Eli said, "she's targeting every database with your identity profile. NATO, CIA, Me-6. She's erasing you." Kaya's fingers tightened. "She isn't just a ghost," she whispered. "She's a scalpel. And I'm the wound." Ghost in the machine. Far above the Arctic Circle, an abandoned Harrow black site, known as Facility EON. Pulsed to life after 10 years of silence. Inside, Vorn 9 moved like wind. No hesitation. No misstep. Every door opened at her touch. Every biometric readout accepted her as Kaya Vorn. And why wouldn't it? She was Kaya Vorn, or close enough. The clone had initiated the final stage of her directive, upload to the Omega Protocol and overwrite Kaya's existence. Not just digitally, entirely. Erased from memory, intel, and command history. She moved into the identity core chamber and began the upload. By the time the real Kaya arrived, she'd be a ghost without a history. The final hunt. Reykjavik, Iceland. Kaya, Reyes, and Eli operated from a secure apartment above a fish market. Steam from grilled cod wafted into the room as Lane projected a 3D schematic of Facility EON across the ceiling. Kaya paced. "I designed that facility to be impenetrable," she said. "We need someone who knows how to break what I built." Enter, Viktor Chesnev, a disgraced Russian handler turned arms smuggler. He arrived in a snow-dusted trench coat, vodka breath thick in the air. "You're chasing a version of yourself," Viktor grunted, "but this one doesn't cry over dead teammates." "I don't cry," Kaya said. He laughed. "Then you're already half her." They planned the infiltration in 12 hours. If they were going to stop Vorn 9, it had to be now, before her upload was complete. Descent into EON. The blizzard was unrelenting. Wrapped in thermal gear, Kaya's team descended into the ice, guided by memories only she possessed, the backdoor protocols, the hidden elevator shaft buried beneath a glacier wall. 2 teams. Team Alpha, Kaya, Reyes, Eli, primary assault and data core lockdown. Team Bravo, Lane, Tran, and Victor, power disruption and extraction support. They moved fast, ghosting cameras and neutralizing decades-old auto turrets. Inside, Facility EON was silent. Cold. But alive. Kaya pressed her palm to the master door. "Access granted, welcome back, Commander Vorn." They were inside. Face to face. The identity core chamber was bathed in sterile light. And standing in front of the terminal was her. Vorn 9. She turned slowly, face perfectly mirrored to Kaya's. No flicker of humanity. No recognition. Only calculation. You made me too well, Varen said. But not well enough to beat me. Kaya raised her weapon. Step away from the terminal. I've already completed Phase 2. By tomorrow, every database from NATO to Interpol will forget you existed. Reyes stepped forward. We'll undo it. You can't, Varen said. Because you won't survive. Without warning, she threw a micropulse grenade. The EMP fried every communication line. Lights flickered. Doors slammed shut. Kaya ducked behind cover, dragging Reyes to safety as Varen vanished into the maze of servers. Identity war. Team Bravo lost all contact. Lane stared at his dead comms board. She fried everything. Victor grunted. Then we go in loud. They descended through ventilation shafts manually, breaching bulkheads with shaped charges. Meanwhile, Kaya hunted her twin in the glowing labyrinth. Eli reactivated the backup server grid using analog panels. Reyes, wounded, provided cover. Kaya moved alone. She finally cornered Varen at the central processor, the core glowing between them. You think removing me will make you real? Kaya demanded. I don't think. I execute, Varen replied. She attacked. They fought like two rivers colliding, mirrored moves, same counters, same instincts. Varen slashed with a carbon blade. Kaya caught it with her forearm and retaliated with a throat strike that sent the clone staggering back. Blood. Even her blood looked the same. Deletion protocol. Kaya tackled her double into the command terminal. Final override key, Kaya Vorn, Phoenix class, she shouted into the console. The identity core responded. Neurobind key accepted. Initiating failsafe. Varen twitched. Her eyes flickered. Human. Robotic? Stop it, she growled. I am you. No, Kaya said. You're what they made me forget I could be. The failsafe pulsed through the chamber, triggering a memory feedback loop designed to destabilize rogue AI behavior. Varen screamed, a sound torn between pain and code. Then silence. Her body slumped. Dead. Fallout. Kaya stood over the lifeless copy. Reyes limped over, arm bleeding. You good? He asked. She nodded. She's gone. Lane's voice crackled through restored comms. We have server access. You're back in the system, Kaya. The erasure stopped. But not everything was restored. Some records were permanently corrupted. Her military rank. Her commendations. Some of her own missions, vanished. In the eyes of the world, Kaya Vorn was half myth, half memory. She was officially expendable. Epilogue, 6 weeks later. A cabin in Patagonia, surrounded by jagged peaks and snow-dusted pines. Kaya sat on the porch with a cup of bitter coffee, staring into a sunset too vivid to forget. A sat phone rang. Eli's voice. You're off-grid, but you're not invisible. NATO thinks you died in Greenland. Maybe I did, she said softly. Reyes is still recovering. He says hi. Kaya smiled faintly. Tell him thanks, for trusting me. For staying human. You're not planning to stay hidden forever, are you? She didn't answer at first. Then. I'm building something new. Not Harrow. Not Emberlight. Not secrets. What then? Truth. She ended the call. The wind howled. Kaya Vorn stood, grabbed her pack, and disappeared into the mountains. The end. For more interesting and heart-touching videos, please visit our YouTube channel and like and subscribe for our motivation. Thanks for watching.